Hi everybody, it's Emily, and today I wanted to talk about living books. So what is a living book? You'll hear this term a lot, especially in reference to the Charlotte Mason homeschooling method, and a living book is basically a good piece of literature. Now, a living book could be nonfiction as well as fiction. And when we're talking in terms of nonfiction, a living book is one in which the author is a sole author. It is not a committee of authors like you would find on a textbook. It is a sole author who is writing about something they are passionate about. So a good example would be like Jean Craighead George's books. Jim Arnowski, he writes a lot of science books. So those are living books. And the opposite of a living book would be twaddle. Now, I've always been sort of bothered by this term twaddle because it usually implies that a book is a waste of your time or that it is dumbed down, and oftentimes they are. But that doesn't make them bad or something that should be avoided like the plague. I feel like twaddle is a subjective term. Now, an example I would give you of twaddle, as an example, I would say that a book like this is probably twaddle for most people. It is a book that is based on characters from a television show or a movie. In this case, they are Disney princesses. And the words are very stilted because, of course, this is a beginning reader. So while this would be considered twaddle by most Charlotte Mason purists, to me, I think it can be useful if you have a child who is just learning how to read and needs some extra practice and is a big fan of the characters in the book. Now, a better choice would be something like this by Willems. Now, this is also a beginning reader, but I love Willems picture books, especially the Elephant and Piggy series. And again, these have very little text per page, and they are, for the most part, beginning readers. But they manage to convey such a deep story with just pictures and a couple of words. I don't know how Mo Willems does it. He's awesome. But these books are great. And they are another example of how to use a book that is not great literature, but not twaddle either. To me, a living book is just a book that makes me care. It makes me deeply invested in the story. A living book is one that makes me want to know more. It makes me go after more books in a series, or it makes me do research. I went through a phase about, I'm still in the phase, I'm not going to lie, about the Tudors. And so many books written about the Tudors are very much inaccurate, I would say. And, it made me want to do more research and find out what really happened. And that is what the definition of a living book is for me. It's a book that makes me want to know more and make me dig deeper and find out what's real and what isn't. So any book that makes you care, that makes you feel for the characters, that makes you want to know more, that is a living book. Now, I thought I would end this by sharing just a small, I could go on for hours about this, but just a few of my favorite children's books. And like I said, this is very light. I'm not going crazy here. I'm just going to show you just a couple examples of what I would consider to be a living book. Now, I love Aliki's books. They're nonfiction, and they're usually about a specific topic. So this one is about mummies, and it is very detailed in that his illustrations go into great detail to show you exactly how a mummy was made. And you will know all kinds of things about mummies and pyramids after reading this book. And that is a really great example of a living book. Same with this one, which is Medieval Feast. Again, you'll know every detail of information about how a medieval feast came about. And the illustrations in these books are just so beautiful. I just love them. I just love to look at them. They're so pretty. And I love that the style of each book goes along with the time period and the culture being talked about. Now, this book I'm about to show you is probably I know for sure it's out of print. This book was my absolute favorite book when I was about 8. until I read this book probably hundreds of times in my childhood, and I'd lost my original copy, and I went and found it on Amazon used several years ago because I needed to own it for my children. And this is The Secrets of Vesuvius, and it is by Sarah C. Bissell. And this book made me desperately want to become an archaeologist. It's really fascinating. It goes back and forth between modern day when it was written, so like the 80s, I believe, and about an anthropologist, an archaeologist going on a dig, and then it flips to a fictional account of what actually happened the day that Vesuvius erupted. And so you go back and forth in this story about these people who lived through or died when Vesuvius erupted, and like their story, and you go back and forth between the actual facts about Mount Vesuvius and what happened and the discoveries that were made by the archaeologists and anthropologists on the dig, and it's just fascinating. And I loved that book so much that my original copy, I think, fell apart. So another example of a living book are Bill Peet's books. We love him. We have several of his picture books, and he wrote mostly picture books, but this book, Cappy Boppy, is probably a family favorite. I've read this book to my kids dozens of times, and it is all about the true story of how Bill Peet's family had a pet capybara. And it's just a really fun book, and it's interesting to read about the adventures they had with him, with their Cappy Boppy, and it made me kind of want a pet capybara, even though reading the book, I know that's a really bad idea. But my kids love it when we go to the zoo in Maine and they have capybaras, and it's so exciting to see a real Cappy Boppy. And the last book I'm going to show you is The Evolution of Calpurnia Tate. This book has so much. It's science, it's a coming-of-age story, it's historical fiction because it takes place in 1899, right at the turn of the century, and it's just a beautiful book, and I highly, highly recommend it. Those are some examples of some living books, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and please like and share and subscribe, and if you want to see another video in this Charlotte Mason 101 series, please let me know down below in the comments, and I will see what I can come up with. So thanks for watching, have a great day, bye!